Welcome back, everybody. Of course, welcome back to Cooking with Tammy. I am back with another amazing recipe. Today we are going to be making southern cornbread dressing with chicken. Yes, this southern cornbread dressing, when I tell you, it's going to be absolutely delicious and everything plus more. Anyway, guys, without further ado, let's jump right in, introduce these ingredients, and get this video started. First thing we're going to need is some cornbread. This cornbread has been made the night before. However, if you're not able, because you're pressed for time, if you're not able to make the cornbread the night before, what you have to do is leave the cornbread in the oven for a little bit longer, maybe about 5 minutes longer, until the cornbread dries out just a bit, because dry cornbread makes the best stuffing. We also have what's left of a rotisserie chicken. I'm not going to tell you what happened to the other pieces of it, but yes, we have rotisserie chicken. And of course, in regards to the chicken, buy from your local grocers. It's so much easier. We also have some water. We have our cream of chicken with herbs. We also have some cream of celery, and I have a third one reserved just in case we need it, but we're not going to talk about that just yet. I also have some herb seasoned croutons, which I'm going to incorporate with the cornbread as well. We have our chicken bouillon powder. If we don't want to use powder, we can always substitute for the paste, which is better than bouillon, and that's chicken flavored. Yeah, you got the options going on today. We also have some dried thyme, as well as poultry season, garlic powder, onion powder, finely diced onions, fresh parsley, as well as eggs, half a stick of butter. We also have some garlic cloves, and we have some fresh sage as well as celery. Now that that's done, let's jump right in and get to cooking. We're going to start with mincing the garlic, and these are 4 garlic cloves. What I like to do is take in the back of the knife, just go in and just press on it really hard. I like to flatten the garlic out because when it comes to chopping the garlic, you don't have to chase the garlic all over the cutting board because it has that oval shape. So once it's flat, it lays flush against the chopping board, and it's so much easier. I'm going to put it in a little ramekin, get it out the way. Next up on the chopping board is our fresh parsley, and I'm going to leave the stems on. We're going to chop it really fine. How is everybody doing today? I hope everybody's doing amazing on this beautiful day. As a matter of fact, every day is a beautiful day no matter what. Once you're breathing, that's all that matters. Continue to be awesome. Just go in and chop it up really good. Doesn't have to be too fine. I'm not going to make it too fine, only because I kind of want that parsley to stand out just a bit. I want those hints and hues of greenery to peek out in the stuffing. All right, get that out of here. Next up is our sage. And this is fresh sage. Of course, if you don't have fresh sage, not a problem. Use the dry sage in a bottle, and that will work perfectly fine as well. Because finding sage in certain grocery stores, trust me, it's not the easiest. Especially around the seasonal part of the year, it's much harder to find. I went to like literally 3 different stores looking for sage. I'm like, sage, you're lucky you're important in this recipe, because if not, I don't know. When it comes to the onions, finely dice it. Unless you like chunky onions in your stuffing, go in and just chop it up really finely. In this recipe, it's all about preference. Some people like it to be smooth and creamy. Some people like texture. Sometimes you want your veggies to stand out. Totally up to you. Make sure you use a sharp knife because it makes it so much easier. All right. There's a little greenery from the parsley and the other green herbs mixed within the onion, but guess what? No problem whatsoever. All right, we're good with the onions. We have our sage as well as our parsley and garlic. And all right, we're gonna move on to working on dicing up our celery. Comes to the celery, it's a preference thing, whether or not if you want to use 2 stalks, 3 stalks, you know, or even 4 stalks. I'm gonna use 3. I think 3 is definitely gonna be sufficient. It's gonna be enough. It's time for us to prep our chicken. Let me just start by saying, you guys are lucky because you almost didn't get a southern cornbread stuffing with chicken video. Yeah, you was gonna get cornbread stuffing minus the chicken, because your girl literally, I almost tore that chicken apart. I really did, with no remorse. I'm telling you, it is so delicious. I'm just gonna take the breast pieces off. It's so tender, so juicy, and just seasoned perfectly. I went in like a maniac. Of course, if you have the time, all you have to do is get your chicken, season it up with onion powder, garlic powder, a little salt, ground black pepper, little chicken seasoning, and of course you're going to hit it off with a little butter, a little oil, put it inside of the oven, and add a little water to the pan, and bam, you have your roast chicken for your cornbread stuffing, which can take about 1 hour and 45 minutes to bake. And of course, if you're working on something else, you may have the time because you have other things to distract you. But if you're ready to go and you're like pressed for time, please, who's going to be able to tell the difference? Get that chicken from the grocery store. It's the reason why they have it there. It's to be bought and eaten and enjoyed. Just gonna break it up. We don't have to like literally take our knife to this chicken. Just break it up. Nice chunky pieces. Break it up into nice healthy sized chunky pieces, so when you eat your cornbread stuffing, you get that, you know, you get that taste, you get the chicken pieces all in the mix. You don't want to take literally 2-3 spoonfuls and not taste any chicken in your cornbread stuffing. If that's the case, it means one or two things. It's either it's not incorporated properly, or you was just skimpy when it came to adding the chicken to your cornbread stuffing. One or the other. Which one is it going to be? Hopefully, none. You want everybody to praise you while they eating your southern cornbread stuffing with chicken. We're not holding back on anything. Make sure you comb through the chicken to eliminate all of the bones. Make sure there's no bones in this chicken. All right, we should be good. That, I would honestly say, is about 2 to 3 cups of chicken. It's time for us to saute our veggies. So what we're going to do is, to this nice hot pan, we're going to add a little oil. And of course, you can use any oil. Doesn't matter whether it be canola, veggie. Doesn't matter. And we're going to add some butter as well. Adding the butter to the oil, because you can't add the butter by itself, because if not, the butter is going to burn. However, adding the butter to the oil not only prevents that, but it's going to give our veggies a lot of flavor. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add our celery, and we're also going to add our onions. We're also going to add our parsley. Stir it around, give it a good mix. Make sure everything is well incorporated. I like to add my parsley to the mix as well, because I want, you know, like I said, I'm big on flavors. I want all of those herbs and spices and aromatics and everything to incorporate and release and just become one delicious flavor. And right now my flame is on low medium. I'm going to go in and add my minced garlic. This is going to be so tasty. Gonna add my fresh sage. Mix it in there. Mix it in there. Mix it all up. Make it smell good. Can't just look good and not smell good, or vice versa. You gotta have both. Can't have one without the other. As I mentioned, flame is on low medium, and we are doing our thing. Add a little bit more oil if necessary. I'm gonna leave it alone for just a bit. Allow it to heat up and break down some more. In the meanwhile, while our delicious veggies are sauteing, what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on our cornbread. Let's break up this cornbread. And you don't gotta be fancy. Just take your hands, go in there, just break it apart. And of course, if you make it the night before, you're gonna store it in the refrigerator. Take it out when you're ready to use it. I would say leave it out for about maybe 15 to 20 minutes. And then you get in there, you just break it apart. It smells really good, nevertheless. I know we're using it for our cornbread stuffing, but it smells good. It smells really good. And this is perfect. All right. And I'm gonna transfer it over into a bigger bowl because trust me, by the time we add the veggies and chicken and everything else, this bowl right here is not gonna be able to capacitate all those ingredients. Let's check on our veggies. Check it out, our veggies are breaking down perfectly. I'm gonna let it go for about 5 more minutes. I would say 5 more minutes will give the celery enough time to break down a little bit more. I have my herb croutons, which is perfectly seasoned as well. And I'm gonna add, let's see, we have about 1 cup here. And I'm gonna go for about 2 cups. And I'm gonna incorporate the cornbread along with the croutons. Now, if you don't have croutons, of course, you could get some bread, toast it up, dry it out, break it up. Or, even better, if you have crackers in the house, whether it be saltine crackers, Ritz crackers, you can use crackers as well. So you have options. If you can't get your hands on croutons, you get some bread, toast it up, break it up into like a million bits and pieces, or you can simply use crackers. To this mix right here, we're gonna add some thyme. I'm adding about a tablespoon. Never go in adding a bunch of anything. Just start off small first. Also gonna add some poultry seasoning. This is about a tablespoon as well. Garlic powder, tablespoon. And our onion powder is gonna be a tablespoon as well. So everything so far, a tablespoon. Just gonna use my hand to incorporate the seasonings. From the beginning of time, the best utensil was what? Our trusty fingers, right? Yep, it sure was. You didn't have fancy gadgets and stuff like that, right? But we got the job done, and our food was not our, because I wasn't born in that time period, but you know what I mean. And the food was some of the best tasting food ever. I think it's fair enough to say we could turn the stove top off. Our veggies are perfectly sauteed, and I'm gonna allow them to cool down just a bit before I incorporate it with our breading mixture. We're gonna crack our eggs and put it to sit on the sideline. Gonna take out those shells. Perfect. Like I tell you guys, every time I crack eggs on camera, it's always the same thing. So get accustomed to that. You're gonna see me cracking eggs and shells always ending up in the eggs, all right? Off camera, it doesn't happen, I promise you. We're just gonna beat it up a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. And of course, as you saw, I had 3 eggs. And that is good to go. Put that to the side. In the meanwhile, I'm going to work on making my chicken broth. Of course, you have the option to use powder or better than bouillon. Now, when it comes down to the better than bouillon, of course, you're going to take the paste, you're going to add it to some water, and you're going to mix it until it breaks down and it dissolves, and you'll be good to go. Same thing with the powder. Powder breaks down a little bit quicker. All you have to do is just give it a good mix, make sure it's well incorporated, and you're done. I'm going to add my chicken to the cornbread mix. Get it all in there. Gonna go on once more with my hands and kind of fold the chicken pieces into the cornbread mix. We're not really breaking it up, but we're just more so folding it in. And once you fold it in, that would assure that the chicken would distribute evenly throughout the cornbread mixture. Get that cornbread from the bottom, bring it to the top, get that chicken incorporated in the bottom as well. Remember this mix right here, our sauteed celery as well as our garlic, onion, sage, and parsley. Well, guess what? It's gonna go into our cornbread mixture, and let me tell you, it smells so refreshing. We're gonna use our hands once again. Just take your time if you're working with a smaller type bowl. Just take your time, go in there, be patient, and before you know it, you'll be finished. Trying to get everything from the bottom, just rotate it basically. Get everything well incorporated. And this is it. Yes, 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 yes. We're gonna add our chicken broth. So far I added about 3 cups. And this part right here is up to your preference. If you like your cornbread stuffing a little bit on the dry side, then you're gonna add less liquid. If you like it nice and moist, then obviously you're gonna add more liquid to wet up that cornbread and those bread croutons. But the main thing that I want you to do is follow this recipe step by step, because it's gonna bring you nothing but the best flavors. 4 cups of broth is not enough? No problem. And you like your cornbread stuffing moist? I don't see what's the problem. You better get yourself some more liquid and add it to your cornbread stuffing. Off camera, I added a little bit more liquid. This is what we're working with so far. We are gonna add our cream of chicken with herbs. And the cream of chicken, absolutely delicious, but with the added herbs, it definitely elevates the flavor. All right, so we're gonna add our cream to the mix. Trust me, I'm gonna get all the contents out of there. 1 second. And we're also gonna add our cream of celery. I'm doing like a half and half type of thing. Couldn't decide whether or not if I wanted to do 2 cans of chicken. So when you can't decide, you know what? You use both. And that's what I did. Let's just scoop it on out. Of course, if you want to add a little bit of water or chicken broth to your can to get all of the remaining out of it, definitely do that. I added some water to this can right here. So we're gonna stir it and try to get everything out the bottom of the can. And we're just gonna add it like that right there. And we're gonna take our time and mix it all in. And using the cream is gonna obviously make our stuffing nice and creamy. Once you hear that wet sound, you know we good to go. We have our 3 beaten eggs, and we're gonna go in and we're gonna add our eggs. And you see those little hints of greenery right there from the fresh parsley that we sauteed just peeking through. Perfect. You can see the celery. You see the chicken pieces. This is going to be absolutely amazing. So delicious. We have our pan greased with butter, of course. And we're going to add all of our delicious cornbread stuffing to this pan right here. Taking the back of the spatula, we're just going to smooth it on out. And what do you know? I made just enough to fit in this pan. Hey! Perfect. Our oven is preheated to 350 degrees. So we are going to place it into our oven and allow it to bake for at least 1 hour. Into our 350 degree Fahrenheit oven, we're going to allow our cornbread stuffing to bake for about 45 minutes to 1 hour until it gets nice and solidified. Not hard and crunchy, of course, but 45 to 1 hour should do it. And I'm going to show you what everything looks like as soon as we come back. It's time for the moment of truth. Yes, it is. Our southern cornbread dressing is finished, guys. Yes, out of the oven. What I did was I allowed it to cool down so it could set. So it was in the oven for about 1 hour. And as you can see, this is the final product. This is the finished product. I can't wait to show you what it looks like inside. I'm like so excited, like a big old kid in a candy store. All right, it's time to dig in without further ado. Yes, it is. And check it out. Look at those chunky pieces of chicken. Look at how beautiful. It has that little crust going on top. And you have the nice moist dressing right there. Goodness gracious. You can't ask for nothing better, honestly. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Nice, creamy, and delicious. Nice and moist. Plus you got those chunks of chicken bits. That's right. in the midst. Oh, goodness gracious. You have to definitely give this recipe a try, guys. A Southern cornbread chicken dressing. Everything plus more. Anyway, guys, of course, I'm cooking with Tammy, and I will catch you guys in another video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and most importantly, share these videos, because what? Sharing is caring. Definitely give this recipe a try for the holidays, and you will definitely be very impressed. Anyway, as always, I catch you guys in another video. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.